deeper apps like TCGs and maybe Bingo, well, this update was made for you, because long are the days when you need to go to your local bingo place or just go to the park and play Ridge with the elderly. Now you can do both inside of your Minecraft Vault Hunters world, be it by running bingo vaults or building your greatest deck, but for that you still need to get level 50 first. So let me just tell you what was introduced in the update 15. Starting with your card deck. First off, this is gonna be your starter deck, which is called starter, and can be crafted like this. As for the other ones, well, you're gonna need to find them in completion crates or treasure sand. That, as you can see, has a different loot table than it did before, but we'll get that there later. Once you have your first deck, you can then start finding at level 52, well, not level 52, but also at level 50, you'll start finding inside of completion crates and the black market booster packs. There are 6 types of them. Arcane booster packs, which basically give you arcane cards that are cards that will increase the level of one of your skills. Conditionally, of course, because yeah, it would have been too powerful otherwise. And then you have resource booster packs that, well, make it so that you get resources by completing certain tasks. For example, this one silver per 11 or mob skilled. Then you have stat booster packs that increase your stats. Yeah, these are the most simpler ones, and yeah, it's probably one of the first that you'll get, hopefully, as it's gonna be great. Then you have wild booster packs that basically they just fill the type of a card that's gonna be needed for another booster pack, that is the evolution booster pack, that also increases your stats, but it increases it by the number of cards in a specific directions to them. For example, it can be adjacent, needs to be one of these 4, basically the ones directly connected from up, down, left or right. Then it can be in a row. Surrounding would be the 8 ones surrounding it, so an upgrade towards the adjacent one. And we also have column or the diagonal. And lastly, we have the mixed booster pack, which, as the name implies, can give you any of the other boosters, the cards that you'll find in them. And as you can see, I left one over here that is different, and that is a mega, because if I take a booster, normal booster, and open it, you're gonna see that there are 3 cards that I can choose from. Let's take one at random, I don't care, but the mega has 5. So megas basically give you a higher choice, or better choices if it can hold basically more cards. But now, what do you do with cards that you don't want? For example, my build doesn't have, let's say, charm. So I'll take this charm, and I won't use this card because I don't have charm. I place it in the card essence extractor, which is crafted like this, and give it a redstone signal, and it will become essence. I already consumed the other 9 cards, and this is the 10th one, because once you have the 10th one, let's say I want mining speed because I don't have enough to instant break wooden chests. I just place it here, and I can upgrade it. Currently it has 2 mining speed. Now it has 4, because it's a tier higher. And the further you go in tiers, the more it will cost you in essence. And that's about basically it for cards. So just see what cards you like, what will fit your build, and just try to build a deck that you are proud of. Except I forgot to say something. Decks vary in basically what they look inside. So you need to find the deck that will fit to what you want to do the most, to the highest number of columns or the biggest diagonal, depending on what cards you have that are evolving. And now, with my deck in hand, and not exactly in hand, but in its slot, and gear ready, let's tackle the new vault, the Bingo Vault. And for the sake of it being easier to see, let me increase the GUI, because this way, once I press tab, it will basically fit my whole screen, and that is the bingo board. Once you enter the Bingo Vault, you'll get 4 rows and 4 columns that have objectives to complete inside of this Bingo Vault, and they can vary from killing mobs, finding rooms, loading chests, doing something more specific like finding pylons or some kind of door like vendors or dungeons, whatever. A lot of stuff that can be found inside of these boards. But not only is there a lot of objectives, they can have modifiers to them. For example, let's start in the first row, primitively kill assassins. That means that you're gonna have to kill assassins without using any skills, because you cannot use mana while killing these assassins, because once you do, it will reset your progress. Then you can kill champions normally that have no restrictions, but then flawlessly. What is flawlessly? Flawlessly kill dwellers means that you're gonna have to kill dwellers without taking any damage. And that means damage from these kind of things. So be careful. Then rapidly. Rapid loot wooden means that you have 6 seconds, and the number, to be more specific, is what appears on the top left of the icon of your objective, to loot 8 wooden chests in this case. And it doesn't mean you have to break them, you just need to open them, and it will count as looting them. And silently loot living, that we can find on the third column here. It means that you cannot deal damage to anything, even with thorns, while completing this objective, because if you do, it's gonna get reset. Something that is not appearing here is basically what is a combo quest, and that is smaller quests, but there are more of them, so you have to complete like one, then another, and then another, until it is fully completed, and only once all of the combo quests are done, that square will be completed. Also, you saw me just moving this around, this line, and basically what this line is selecting is the 4 objectives that are gonna appear in the top middle of your screen. But to do that, while you are tabbed out, well, tabbed in, you're gonna need to scroll your mouse wheel, and it will just scroll through the lines and diagonals. So just select what you want to go after first and have it there, because you need to complete those objectives to get at least 1 line if you want to complete the vault. And once you complete 1 line, you can decide either to leave the vault or complete more lines, because once you do receive 1 line, you're gonna get a bingo, which is increased item quantity, rarity, and boosts soul chance by 25%. And this is while you are inside of the vault, so the more you're gonna stay inside, the better, as it gives you an incentive to be here. And for the further lines, not only you'll receive the crate, but the crate will be upgraded for the more lines you actually complete. So completing more lines is better basically all of the times if you can complete more than 1 line, or column, or diagonal, basically more than 1 bingo. But for the sake of demonstration, 1 is enough, so let's get out. And basically this is what the bingo crate looks like. So you can right click and shift to open it like usual, and you're gonna get loot. And as I said, the more lines, the better loot, because this one, it's more or less the same, because there were also 1 or 2 lines only each. So yeah, overall they are good, and it is a new fun objective to complete. And as I mentioned before, treasures were also updated in this, well, update. For example, I am gonna open this Gorgonite treasure door and go inside. Now there is only this 1 treasure pedestal in here, and as you can see, the amount of treasures and has been changed, as well as the loot that it gives that I showed you before, and there is a lot more of it now with no longer having any yellow concrete. Once you do right click it, it's gonna drop an item that it's gonna be buffed compared to before in a way, because now once you pick it, it's going into your inventory, and as you can see, it has the sparkle of it being a legendary modifier before being hold, because once you hold, it is guaranteed to have 1 legendary modifier. In this case, I got 19 lucky hit. Now let's go over some other changes that are smaller, and let's end this after with the abilities. And we'll start by seeing the Debagnatizer, not the Magnetizer that was already in the game and made so that your magnets didn't work with it around. Debag basically is so that your pouches, it's easier like this, that have pickup upgrade won't pick up the items on the floor while inside of its area. Let me just show you. Let's say I have these 2 gilded scones on my inventory. I have a bag with a pickup, and it's not gonna go into the bag, but rather my inventory. As for the area it works on, this is a visualization. While inside of that red area and with the head included, you're gonna be in the Debagnatizer range. And if we do a radius, it's basically 31 blocks in that direction, and another 31 in that direction, meaning that if we simply did a full circle, it would be a 63 block diameter. And once again, just to show you, I'm in the headline, inventory, going into the outside area, to the pouch. Still in the big changes, let's go into this chest and see that there are 3 new vault fruits. Juicy grapes that will stay in between kiwis and bitter lemon with 20 seconds. Between lemons and sour oranges, we get the hype mango with 45 seconds. And then the new king of vault fruits, the wild star fruit with 90 seconds, being 30 seconds bigger than the previous bigger one, the sour orange, by 30 seconds. But this is what was added. What was then removed? Let's go into this chest. And one of those things is the repair core that now cannot be found inside of the vault and needs to be crafted or found in the black market. Also, helix are no more. You cannot increase your vault timer with helix. Those were deleted. Same for home magnetite. Now you can craft magnets with the same items as the rest of the vault gear, and vault ingots were also removed. Now for the other thing in this chest. Giant art has not been removed. However, the range for health in your upgrades in your prefix or suffix, well, prefix, has been lowered. So the max health that you're gonna get inside of your armor pieces has been lowered, so you'll be a bit less chunky now. I didn't put here because I forgot, but RT apples and vault apples were also removed, because let's be honest, no one was using them other than to give them to the bounty table in case of mostly the vault apples. So yeah, they won't be missed. Now let's start with some changes over here in the researches. Refined storage and applied energetics both have been changed so that they have a cost of 2 research points. Not only that, you're gonna need power to power them. So instead of going into and having to spec into any form of power over here, now inside of iron generators, if we go and see at iron generators, the stone generator has been removed and it no longer has a recipe. Not only that, iron generators now no longer require the research for it, because gold, yes, you're gonna need it. Iron, it's this simple. And that is so that you can go early on into either applied energetics or refined storage. Now for the abilities, well, first off, let's go and see to the right that a new one has been added, Ice Bolt, which basically you can send an Ice Bolt and the mob that has been hit, it's gonna have shielding applied to it for a duration, as you can see here. And let's go back to a smaller GUI, because it's easier to read. So 2 seconds of shielding and a throw power of 0.6 times your AP at level 1. Not only that, it has an augment, well, a specialization, that is the Glacial Blast, that summons a larger Ice Bolt that shields and potentially glacial imprisons mobs in its radius, which at level 1 it's gonna be 4. And this is also for a duration of 2 seconds, and the cooldown is slightly higher, with slightly I mean a lot higher, almost 10 times as high as Ice Bolt. Not exactly, it will be only like 7 times higher, not 10, but you get the gist of it. Ice Bolt you can spam. And while Glacial Blast can also be spammed, it's not as easy, it's a bit slower. Still on the low side for the ability power spell on the cooldown. And still, before going into the talents, we can look at the abilities and see that Hunter now no longer has all its specializations. Instead, it is just a 1 level skill that you can take and has an incredibly long cooldown of 10 minutes, a 75 mana cost, which is also high, for 20 seconds, that is good, and a 48 radius, where around you, you're gonna detect all POIs, and that's not just chests. It's gonna be doors, it's gonna be altars, it's gonna be your turning points for your scav items or whatever you are doing at the time. Basically, all of the specializations were merged into one for a super hunter kind of. Now for the removed. As you can see, you no longer will find Eternals over here because they have been removed and are being worked on to be implemented in a future update. And that's the change of abilities, so now let's go to talents. The biggest one, Speed, now is a 2-tick ability, well, 2-tick talent, that will increase your movement speed by 10% per level. 20. I don't know how to read. Not only that, a new, well, not only one new, but a few new ones have been added. What was added there below then was Prime Amplification, which increases your AoE by a few percentage per level while you are still above 80% HP. Hunter's Instinct, which means that while killing a mob will give you your Hunter ability. The chance is not that high, but it's still very good with the amount of mobs you kill at higher levels. And obviously this requires you to get Hunter to use it. Then you get Purist, which basically is extra damage per amount of scrappy armor pieces that you are wearing. Frenzy, which is you gain attack speed for a duration of time after killing a mob. Arcana, which much like Frenzy, it's a effect that will take place after killing a mob for a duration of time, and this time is mana regen. Blazing, it's the same for movement speed. And Lucky Momentum, which in my opinion it's the weakest of them all, gives you Lucky Hit. And that is because if you are proccing already Lucky Hit when killing the enemies, 1% seems a bit low and will not impact much, but for the tested is needed because while Blazing does look like fun, Lucky Hit's not as much. We also have two new ones on this right side, which is Bountiful Harvest, which increases item quantity while below 20% HP, and much like those below 20% HP, Treasure Seeker, which is the same but for item rarity instead. And the Mastery is over here, was also changed so that you have 10 to spend on in this side of this cube. Champion Mastery, increases damage to champions. Horde mobs that increase the amount of soul chance when killing Horde. Assassin, gain a stun chance against Assassin. And Dungeon Mastery, which gains resistance against dungeon mobs. Now that was it for the changes, because from what I understand it's gonna be a update 15.2 kind of, in that this was the part 1 of update 15 and we'll got another part, and that is because if we go look into as I was saying before the creepers blew my Vault Artisan station, it is changed. Now, your most common ones like the Amplifying Focus, Fundamentals, basically all of that, it's gonna go into this common one, and then we'll have exotics that are not here yet, besides two of them, which is the Opportunistic Focus and also the Resilient Focus is also the one that goes here. We have Cryonic Focus, that's gonna be in the next update, so I won't talk about it now. The same for Empowered Chaotic Focus and the Pyretic Focus. That are going to go into this part, but that's just in the next part of this update 15, as well as a Vault Crystal with a new objective that is Offering Boss. And please don't create a vault with it. It's already in the game, the crystal, and you can technically open a vault with it. Don't go in. I did it once while preparing for this video, and I just lost my world because it crashed and I could not open the world because I kept crashing my game. Stay away from this, please. Even if you want to test it, don't use it. But anyway, that's gonna be all for the update 15 video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please do subscribe.